First time out in an F1000 in a very soaking wet Silverstone International track. First time on the wet tyres in this car. A lot of power going through the rear wheels. Very twitchy, no traction control whatsoever, so thought this would be interesting. And of course, on the first lap of the first time out, the F1000 decides to brake on me. Very typical. Just need to stay calm, it will be fine. With so much standing water, so much spray coming off the other cars, inside the helmet, it really did feel like you couldn't see very much at all. Even the car with the light in front was only just visible. So we were being quite cautious, not trying to go too crazy and just trying to keep it on track really. Got a bit excited there, trying to overtake on the straight. For the second session within the test day, things started to be less wet. I wouldn't say exactly dry up, but there was less standing water, which meant you could push a little bit harder. 130 in the wet definitely feels a little bit mad. Still being a bit more cautious in the braking. You can see some oil there on the inside of Stowe. Getting on the power far too quickly without applying the throttle gradually is definitely going to leave the back end to kick out in these rear wheel cars. That said, it's great fun handling the wet conditions and feeling the thrill of keeping the car under control. However, of course, it would not be competitive in a race situation. It's very easy to get too late on the brakes, especially in the wet. Stopping distances are much further, so sometimes you're better off taking the exit on the track and leaving it safely, as you might see me do very shortly. You can hear me coming off the power a bit early, hesitating to go for that move there. Understandable at 127 in the wet. GoPro tilted up, you get a pretty good view of me here, missing my brake point. That's actually the first time I've probably come off of a circuit so far. Not really surprised in the way it was always going to happen, and controlled it pretty well. Knew I had locked up and was aquaplaning. No point putting the turn in and try and make the corner because I'll just spin. So you take the gravel, counter steer, and then get back on track safely. So these cars are Formula Vs, so they don't have the wings for downforce, so we're much quicker, although I feel this was quite a bold move here, down into Stowe in the rain. And now we can watch the same move, but in the dry. Knowing I've got a lot more grip, I'm able to get a lot later onto the brake and turn in without the worry of coming off the track. First time here at Silverstone on this circuit, that felt like a very intense overtake, trying to watch the guy you're faster than whilst also making sure that you take the right line and watch the guy who's faster than you in the mirror, going 3 wide. This is the first time I've used a rear cam on the car. I thought it really added a cool element, seeing what's going on behind rather than just in front. It can be quite boring if you're on your own, looking forward in races. This is only testing, so I think it's interesting to see other cars and what they do behind and the lines from the reverse angle. One thing I'm going to work on for the next video is trying to reduce the wind noise, which is quite a shame that happens. I tried putting it in the waterproof hard casing, but that just overheated and turned off, which is a shame as I lost a lot of good footage. one of the fastest drivers in the championship. Wanted to try and follow him, see what would happen. Didn't think that I'd keep up for very long, but at least wanted to try and use some of his lines. I'm not sure if I would have gone for this in the wet. Much more chance of going into the side of those cars, but with the dry, getting a lot more grip. Testing's a bit of a funny one. Obviously you want to be competitive against yourself, your lap times and other drivers as well, but often there's other slower cars on the track, especially if you're in an F1000. So a lot of the time you're overtaking slower cars, which isn't really a fair example of what will happen in a race situation. But also other cars are kind of reacting differently to you. Some might be on an out lap, others might be on a fast lap, others might be trying to move out of the way, you don't know. So you're kind of second guessing what move they're doing, which is why in a race situation at least you know that everyone's got the same goal: drive as fast as possible, try not to be overtaken and try and overtake. On reflection and review of the footage, I can see that yellow flag there. Really shouldn't have gone past that Formula V. Should have stayed in single file and not overtaken. Good news, there was a green flag there, and you know, there was no danger around where I was, but there could have been. So next time I'm going to be a bit more vigilant for that yellow. Overall, this has been a fantastic test session. Got to try all different varied conditions, including really wet conditions and surface water, wet conditions with some spray, and then dry as well. It was important because the race weekend was actually going to be dry, so it was important testing for that. I'm really looking forward to the next test session, trying some new tracks, and for the race itself.